Cincinnati Bengals just can't win a playoff game in the Marvin Lewis era. Will that finally come to an end this year? We're about to discuss it. You're watching the MJ Take on Sports Fan Entertainment. Welcome to the MJ Take on Sports Fan Entertainment. 32 teams, 32 days, and today we're talking about the Cincinnati Bengals. Oh, and we're also talking about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers later because I missed a video, I think it was 2 days ago. I was just really busy that day, did not have time to make that video. So today you get a two-timer. We're talking about the Bengals this morning, and you'll get the Bucs tonight. Now, the thing is with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and Bucs fans know this well, the Bucs actually have a preseason game, and I believe it kicks off at 6 p.m. Central. So what I'm going to do is that video will actually be uploaded at 5:30 p.m. Central, 6:30 p.m. Eastern. That way you can watch the video and then enjoy your Bucs preseason game. So I'm being a little nice for Bucs fans out there tonight. But today we're talking about the Cincinnati Bengals. And as I said, they just can't buy a playoff win in the Marvin Lewis era. We're not even talking about the Andy Dalton era. We're talking about the Marvin Lewis era. They can't buy a playoff W, man. I mean, it shocks me how he's still the head coach. I'm sorry. I get it. It's nice to have a guy that you know can take you to the playoffs. But at the end of the day, what is your goal? It should be to win the damn Super Bowl. And you know you're not going to do it under this guy. It's sad. It's unfortunate, but it's the case. But with that said, I actually like your team. Okay, we're going to get into your team. We're going to get into your strengths, your weaknesses. I'll give you my win-loss prediction, looking at the schedule, and we'll get the hell out of here. Let's talk about your strengths. Number one, it's the offensive line. I think it's one of the better offensive lines in the league, especially when it comes to pass blocking. You wonder why Andy Dalton has really flourished under the Cincinnati Bengals team lately. They've been giving him supreme pass protection. Let's talk about the offensive line. Right now, the left side, Andrew Whitworth. I mean, this guy has been in the league for years, continues to be dominant. Now he's starting to trickle down a little bit, and they have Jake Fisher waiting in the back bushes, waiting to take over that position. But right now, he's there, and he's even willing to move to guard if necessary, if they want to start Jake Fisher sooner rather than later. But for right now, he's on the left side. And also on the right side, Cedric Abuhi, or Abuhi. I'm a little tough on the pronunciation there, but he's on the right side. 2015 draft pick out of Texas A&M. And in limited duty last year, he played actually quite well. And I expect him to play better. And Andre Smith was getting pretty bad. Okay, so the fact that you're able to now, I believe, upgrade this position makes your offensive line even better. Let's look at the guards. Clint Bowling on one side, Kevin Zeitler on the other side. This is one of the better guard tandems in the league. I think it's right behind the Cowboys, right behind maybe Carolina. I mean, these are two of the best guard duos to have in the league. And then center position, Russell Bodine, and he didn't play that well last year, Russell Bodine. So I need to see a little bit better from him, but he was a little nicked up, a little banged up. So yeah, I expect better from him, and I think he'll supply it. But 4 out of the 5 positions I'm confident in, and that's going to make your position of strength for me. Now from here, I had a little bit of trouble because I don't think there's a position where you can look at and you can say that this position is a strength, right? So what I went with is the defense, okay? And the entire defense is not a strength. There are weaknesses on this defense, but overall, I think it's a good defense. And I think it deserves to be listed as a strength. So we're just going to go through the entire defense. Let's start with the defensive line. Carlos Dunlap, who has completely turned into one of the better defensive ends in the league. I never expected him to get over 10 sacks. This guy got 13 and a half last year. Wow, he's aging like fine wine. He's 27 going on 28, getting better and better. No reason to believe he won't even improve upon these numbers. He's talking about getting 23 sacks. I don't know about that, bro, but I can see 15. I can see that because he's just getting so much better with his technique in terms of reading what the tackles are doing, knowing their tendencies, knowing how to attack them, bull rushes and whatnot, and spin moves, and just adding more pass rushing techniques to his repertoire. You continue to see that improvement there. I love that. Geno Atkins inside. He stayed healthy last year for the most part, and boy, was he dominant, returning to his old form, one of the better defensive linemen in the league. He got paid a couple years ago, and now he's sitting back watching Fletcher Cox getting paid, saying, "Are you kidding me, bro? I'm better than Fletcher Cox." I think he proved that last season. Love him inside. But I couldn't put the whole defensive line as a strength because I don't love the other two positions. Okay, Michael Johnson, who, I mean, this guy, he's just not very good anymore. He's there was that one potential season where he got paid, he moved on to Tampa Bay, and y'all got him back. And ever since then, he hasn't been very good. I don't really love him right now. Margus Hunt, we always knew he was a project. We got it. But he hasn't really become a good NFL player yet to me. He hasn't really become that pass rusher we've expected with him. And how long ago did you guys draft him? 3-4 years ago? I don't think he's ever going to make that leap. At the other defensive tackle position, Pat Sims, Domata Pickle, these guys are okay. They're serviceable. They're good against the run, but I'm not very impressed. So the defensive line, I think it's good just because Carlos Dunlap and Geno Atkins are so good, but there are issues. On the other side, I don't love the other side. Let's look at the linebackers. So right now, Vontaze Burfict will be serving a 3-game suspension, but once he's on the field and assuming he's not making boneheaded plays, and they will be there, he's a great linebacker in this league. It's so unfortunate he just doesn't have his head screwed on all the time. So you have him on one side, Ray Maualuga, who I was very critical of last year, but he really stepped up his game last year, became one of the better middle linebackers in the league, so I like that. You signed Carlos Dansby. This is a guy that I expect to come in and actually fit well with this defense, so I like that right there. Behind them, you drafted Nick Vigil, and I believe the 3rd round out of Utah State. You have Vincent Ray, who isn't very good, but I believe he can be good in situational duty. So the linebackers, they're pretty good. Not great enough for me to put them in the strength category, though, but I think they're pretty good. Safeties, okay? You have George Iloka, a guy that was mainly at strong safety in years past because Reggie Nelson was so good as a center fielder. I expect him to now play more free safety, but either way, the guy is really good, and I expect him now to be able to put up the stats to show the rest of the world that he's really good and make the Pro Bowl that he really deserves to make. The guy's a really good safety, but just isn't able to put up those numbers because they don't ask him to be in the positions on the field that you would like to, that you normally get those type of interceptions like Reggie Nelson was getting last year. So I expect him to finally get that Pro Bowl under his belt. He's a great safety to have. You re-signed him good. Sean Williams next to him, pretty good last year in spot duty. I expect him to be good yet again, step into the strong safety role, be a good safety there, no problems there. Cornerbacks, okay, Adam Jones. He continues to be a good cornerback, I give you that. The question is, and it's a little bit of a question, okay, he's getting a little bit up there in age. Can he continue to be essentially the number 1 corner for this football team? I think so, I do, but you just have to, raise an eyebrow a little bit. You have Darqueze Dennard, who's mainly your slot corner right now. I think he should be bumped outside because I think Dre Kirkpatrick really disappointed me last season. I think Darqueze Dennard's a better player. We've been expecting Dre Kirkpatrick to finally become that good player for like 3-4 years now. I think Darqueze Dennard's a better player. And unfortunately, your first-round draft pick in William Jackson III tore his pec, probably out for the season. Maybe he can show for the playoffs, and hey, maybe even lead you guys to a playoff win. How funny would that be? But the 1, 2, 3, I think that's not a bad 1, 2, 3. I'm not a big Dre Kirkpatrick fan, but I think that's a fine 1, 2, 3. But again, I couldn't put it as a strength. But overall, this defense is good, right? And it's going to be a top 10 defense. So I put it on as a strength for this football team. But you see, even for every position, there are, some questions there. The best, I would say, would be the safeties, but even Sean Williams has some questions. So I just put the defense as a strength. But even when you look at the defense, you look at the defensive line, there are problems. Linebackers, they're good, not great. Safeties, like George Iloka, Sean Williams, okay. Good, not great. So I just put the defense there, okay? So the defense is a strength for this football team. There are other positions that could be potential strengths, like number 1, the quarterback. Okay, Andy Dalton, guys, and Bengals fans, you know this, so I don't have to tell you guys this, but everyone else has to tell because they don't get it. Andy Dalton was playing really good last year. He was playing great. He was playing great, great last year. And if he can play that way again, boy, the Bengals really have a good quarterback on their hands. I was getting ready to put him in my top 10 quarterback list. It's time to stop disrespecting Andy Dalton. He's really progressing. He's no longer that game manager of the past. The guy has really stepped up, and he has the potential to be a real strength for this football team. But I have to say potential because I have some problems offensively right now in terms of the receivers, and we're about to get into that, and also the change of offensive coordinator, but definitely has the potential to be a strength. Other positions that has the potential to be a strength would be tight end. The only reason it's not right now, Tyler Eifert, we know he's great, but nicked up, he's going to miss a couple weeks, and then when he comes back, will he be ready to go? He'll be a little rusty there. Behind him, you guys like this guy, CJ Uzoma. I don't know anything about him. I have to see it before I can say he's going to be good. Tyler Kroft, also coming off of an injury, so definitely can be a strength when they come back healthy, but for now, I can't quite put it there. Now let's get into another position that it could be a strength, and that would be the running backs, okay? So Jeremy Hill, I liked him last year. He wasn't great. Unfortunately, I don't know if he's ever going to be the guy we saw his first season in the league and even the second season in the league, but I still think he's very good, right? And I still think he's a very good running back to have in this league. If I'm ranking the top 15 running backs, he's probably around 13 or 12, maybe 11, maybe 10, so that's not bad, not great either. Giovanni Bernard, we get what he is at this point. I could have put it as a strength, but I don't know. I'd like to see a legitimate top 10 running back there before I put it as a strength, and I don't quite see that. But trust me, they're good, right? It's not like these guys are going to lose you games. That's not a problem there. So if you guys haven't noticed, I've talked about every position on the football team, and almost except for one. That's because this team is still really good. There's only one position where I look at and I have problems, and that is the wide receiver position. Now, AJ Green. Okay, we know he's really good, right? Is he great? I have a little bit of trouble with that. I want to say yes, but the problem is, you look around the league nowadays, right? You see Antonio Brown, you see Julio Jones, you see Odell Beckham, you see Allen Robinson, you see DeAndre Hopkins. That's what I consider great. I think he's under those guys, and I don't know how close it is. Now, he's very good. He's going to get you over 1,000 yards every season, maybe even 1,200, but I don't think he's elite. I think those guys are elite, but he's very good, okay? He's going to get 1,200, 1,300 yards, but I think, man, those guys are really good. I can't quite put him in that elite top 5 category. Top 10, yes, we can have a conversation. Top 5, not quite. But then behind him, there's nothing. Honestly, you guys are expecting Brandon LaFell to be your number 2 wide receiver. Come on, guys. It's not happening. Tom Brady couldn't get good out of this guy. Andy Dalton ain't gonna do it, okay? And then behind him, you drafted Tyler Boyd, who I like, but he's not gonna be a world beater for you. He's gonna be a slot guy, a possession receiver, and he may struggle early as he, transitions to the NFL, because the main thing with him is he doesn't have, the breakaway speed or the amazing athleticism. He's going to have to rely on his route running, on his solid hands. And I think these supreme athlete cornerbacks are going to give him a little bit of trouble. He's not going to be able to get the big yards or many yards at all. He's going to get yards, but not many yards at all. So I don't love the wide receiver position right now. You also drafted Cody Core out of Ole Miss. He's fine, but nothing better than a number 4 wide receiver. Rex Burkhead. I mean, come on. Just seriously. So there are issues at the wide receiver position. I think it's a weakness. And you're telling me if AJ Green goes down, it's over. Honestly, because even though I really like Andy Dalton this season, I really do, I don't like knowing that if this guy goes down, it's over. That it is over. We're going to get nothing out of the wide receiver position. We're going to be worse than the Eagles wide receivers, than the Titans wide receivers, than the Browns wide receivers. I don't like hearing that conversation. Even worse than the 49ers wide receivers. That's the conversation we're in. And AJ Green is usually pretty healthy. but he's going to get a lot of volume this season. I think he may get 1,400 yards, and that could lead him susceptible to injury, and you have to be careful with that. So I think the wide receivers, especially the depth there, is an issue. But when that's your only issue, you're just fine. Let's look at the schedule, and let's crank out a win-loss prediction. So before we look at the schedule, let me tell you what I'm thinking in terms of how this team is going to be. So again, I think they're a playoff team. I think they're so much better than so many teams in the league. It's ridiculous. You look at the change at offensive coordinator. Hugh Jackson out the door. In comes Frank Zampeace. I don't expect much of a drop-off, if at all. The guy's been there for 12 years in Frank Zampeace. Actually, 13 years. Since 2003, he's been the quarterback's coach. He gets the system, okay? He knows the system. No problem there. But you've lost guys. Okay, you've lost Mohamed Sanu. You've lost Marvin Jones. You've lost Terrence Newman, although you lost him a couple years ago, actually. You lost just guys, Leon Hall. You've lost some depth here. So you lost Reggie Nelson. You've lost some players. And you've drafted, okay, pretty well. But are you ready to really make up for those losses? I'm not quite sure. Let's look at the schedule, and I think you start off 0-2. I think you lose to the New York Jets. I think you lose to the Pittsburgh Steelers, and you start out 0-2. They're 2 road games, and with Vontaze Burfict being out, with Tyler Eifert probably being out, I just don't see you guys winning these games, but you will be respectable in both of them. And then here comes the win. I think you beat Denver. I think you beat Miami. I think you beat Dallas. I think you lose in New England. I think you guys beat Cleveland. I think you guys beat Washington, but that Washington game will be close. You look out for the Washington Redskins. They're a very similar team as you, except they're better offensively, and you guys are better defensively, but I think they're very close. And hey, your boy, Jay Gruden, coming back to town. Bye week. Okay. I think you guys lose to the Giants. I think you guys beat Buffalo. I think you guys lose to Baltimore, but you guys could sweep them again. I wouldn't be surprised, but I think you guys lose them. I think that's a safe bet to make. I think you beat Philly. I think you should beat Cleveland, but, honestly, I think Cleveland might sneak a couple wins this year. So look out, but I'll say you guys beat them. I think you guys beat Pittsburgh in your own house. You lose to Houston, and you beat Baltimore. That is a 10-6 record, but I'll tell you this right now. The best case scenario, I think it's 12-4. I think you can repeat last year's victories. I think you'll still lose to Pittsburgh once. I think you'll still lose to New England. I think you'll still lose probably to New York Jets week 1 and then to the Giants, right? I see those being losses. I don't see there's much of a conversation. If you want to have a conversation in the comments, let's please, because I don't see how you guys are going to win any of those games. But then, I think you guys could easily end up being the first, second, or third seed in the AFC. I have the Patriots going 12-4. I have the Steelers going 12-4. If you guys go 12-4, we see what would happen there. In terms of winning a playoff game, if you guys go 12-4, I think it's finally time. Yeah, I think it's time. You just can't keep losing these games. It's just, come on, you got to win a playoff game. If you guys go to 10-6, I'm predicting you're in trouble. Although you'll be able to go up against the AFC South winner, and it could be Indianapolis Colts, and I think you guys could actually win that. I really have a feeling that enough is enough. It's time for the Bengals to win a playoff game. Something has to give. Either they're going to win the playoff game, or you're going to miss the playoffs and you're going to be out. Something has got to give. I think you guys are going to finally win a playoff game. In the worst case scenario, I think it's 9-7. It's not going to be worse than that. You're going to be a winning team. The roster's too good. If Andy Dalton gets injured, if AJ Green gets injured, then this goes out the window. But if you're healthy, if those two players are healthy, those are just the main ones, really. You're a winning team in the NFL. You're better than so many teams in the NFL. It's ridiculous how much better you are than all these teams, than every team in the AFC South, than almost every team in the AFC East, every team in the AFC West. I think you're better than the Raiders. I do. I think you're better. So, you're going to win 9 games at least. That's the worst case scenario. So there you go. There's my Cincinnati Bengals 2016 NFL season preview. What do you think about the Cincinnati Bengals upcoming season? Comment down below. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like, and most importantly, to subscribe, because every single damn day I am here giving you guys a new season preview. And when the season comes around, I have plenty videos as well. Until next time, this has been the MJ Take on Sports Fan Entertainment, and I'm out. Peace.